And with me now is, of course, Mr. Ted Redelmeier, a guy who I was having so much fun, actually so much fun talking with off-cam that I wanted to do it on-cam. So the rest of my televiewers can enjoy what we were talking about. And before anything else, Ted, what brings you to the Philippines? You look like you're from a very far-off place, so what brings you here?
Well, I live in Canada. I'm here because 14 months ago, I met Alexis Bellonio. I learned about him when I was in Vietnam, and I saw a stove, and I said, where did that come from? And I was told that it was a Bellonio stove, and I said...
In Vietnam?
In Vietnam, I learned about it, and I said, I have to find this Bellonio person. And so I tracked him down, and I finally met him actually in Seattle.
Oh, really?
In February last year, and we decided to work together, and now we are really working together. Go ahead.
Can I ask
Yes.
you, before I forget, what was so special about that particular stove that you felt you needed to find the inventor?
Well, I have been involved in the Global Alliance for Clean Cook Stove movement, so I've been interested in clean cook stoves for a long time. I became involved in stoves because I first became involved in a dream of being alive in the year in which we equilibrate the atmospheric concentration of carbon dioxide. And gasification of biomass is a means by which we can actually remove carbon permanently from the atmosphere.
So it is possible.
We're not making probability statements here, but yes, it's possible.
It is possible.
Yeah,
yes.
very possible.
Oh, very
Absolutely
possible.
it is.
Okay. And basically, this stove somehow presented a little bit of a...
Well, this stove is an example of gasification of biomass, and what Alexis and I are starting to do now is provide the technology, develop gasification technology for stoves, but also for stationary agricultural use, for transport agricultural use, for electrical generation, battery charging.
That's a lot.
And clean, dense fuel development too.
What do you think the greatest challenge will be in this endeavor? I mean, just off the bat.
Well, there are three potential sources of financial flows associated with the gasification of biomass. Energy, soil restoration, and carbon sequestration. For energy, it's clearly in the best interests of somebody to make the switch. For a farmer who's using diesel for his pump, diesel for his tractor,
purchase it.
It's money out of the pocket.
Yeah.
So today, energy goes from the farming family, from the village, from the country, to the petrostate.
To come back in.
No, today with fossil fuels, it leaves.
Yes.
And carbon associated with energy goes from deep in the ground into the atmosphere.
Causing global warming and climate change.
Causing global warming. If we gasify biomass, then money for energy will stay within the country, will stay within the community, and within the family, and the carbon associated with energy on a net basis will go back into the soil.
Okay, so it doesn't have to leave the country, where a rice farmer can provide the energy he or she needs with what he has in his soil. And I think that is the good news that we want to impart. The rest of it, we will talk for some other longer time. But at least the good thing is we leave people who are from a smaller income family, farmers that can actually produce their own energy, cleaner fuel, something that will save the environment, and there's so many of them here. And we have to start with our third world agricultural countries, right?
This starts with poverty alleviation.
Yeah. I know you're a very well-achieved man, and then you want to learn something new every day, but is there something in particular that you still feel?
I mean, I dream of being alive in the year in which we equilibrate the atmospheric concentration of carbon dioxide. I'm 60. My daughters are wonderful young women. They're independent. They're leading wonderful lives, and this is what I care about, and I don't.
And how did you, of course, this way of thinking is very different from, let's say, a traditional family man. So I guess my question would be, how did you switch from that traditional family man, if you ever were, raising your two daughters, to somebody who wants to be alive at this time? Well, I want to be alive too, but I don't know if my lifestyle is going to permit that. But how did you make that switch?
The body is remarkably resilient,
okay.
you know.
Oh, that's good news for me.
How did I make that switch? First of all, when I was a kid, I always wanted to make a revolution. I just didn't like the way things were.
So do many politicians.
Well, no, that's right.
To make
Okay, so every kid wants to make a revolution, and I failed, and it went away. But maybe it never went away. And when my younger daughter went off to university, very shortly thereafter came a few ideas, and those ideas were the beginning of this.
So thank you so much for giving us that good news. And I hope we can take this, and it's so wonderful how somebody from another part of the world can actually recognize this and teach us how to use it in our own land. Thank you so much for that.
I really like the Philippines, incidentally. I don't know how I got here, but it's going to be hard to get me to leave.
Okay. So there you have it, mga kasangbahay. This is another one of those stories where our dreams become a reality. Of course, with the help of God and with a little help from our friends. Makikita natin na a very simple invention can actually solve many of our problems and be able to be there for many of the little concerns that we have. All we need to do is have a little bit of passion, a lot of faith in the Lord, and all of this can come into a reality. So join us again next week as we bring you the lives of the people we believe you should know, right here on Spotlight. And I would also like to thank Shambhala Living Museum for allowing us to do this very special interview. So until next week, goodbye for now.